your turn to...
Oh, is it for me?
Consider yourself fired.
Why are you winking at me?
Consider yourself fired.
Hello, and welcome to the JT and Drew Show. I'm JT.
And I'm Drew.
And we're two nobodies talking about nothing.
Consider yourself fired.
Hey, bud. It's good to
Hola.
see you. How you doing?
Bien, gracias. ¿Y usted?
I don't speak Italian.
Sí. Taco nachos.
Nintendo?
I want to be ninja.
Yes. Oh, that was a good review. I can't remember. His name was Bobby. I don't know his last name.
Bobby Lee.
Bobby Lee.
Yes, sir. You remember him from Mad TV?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. He was young when he did that.
Yeah, he sure was.
He sure was.
I was thinking about making that your ringtone. I want to be ninja.
That would be great. Please don't do that.
We'll see.
I would prefer bagpipes.
Yay. Sticking to your Lucky Charms and roots and hearts and stars and stuff.
That's Irish, but yeah.
My shot at it.
Well, yeah. Well, you
some
just
of
keep
my
practicing.
jokes are short and some of them are long.
Your mother's been telling stories about me again.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what we do here, folks. I open doors and JT walks through them.
I try. You got my video. So
Yes.
if you don't know where that comes from the movie Braveheart.
Oh, yes. Braveheart.
And they were talking about making spears.
Ooh.
Long ones. Twice as long as a man. And then the comment was said, well, some men are longer than others. And then that's when your mother's been telling stories about me again. And it's real quick, but it's become a JT and Drew Show thing. Yeah,
it's pretty great. It's kind of like the whole, oh, that's what she said.
Yeah.
It can be inserted in many situations.
Yeah, it sure can. Just like when we were kids and you had to end a sentence in bed. So I don't know if anybody remembers
Yes.
that.
Yeah, I always did that with fortune cookies too.
Yes. Fortune cookies were the best.
Yeah.
So, well, guess what?
What, girl?
New information.
Ooh, I like information.
I know you do, which is why I'm giving it to you new.
Okay, what you got?
It has been exactly 20 days since we started season 3, right?
Oh, man, time flies, huh?
It does, but this is how crazy news is getting, right? And we're doing our best to try to keep up with this stuff and, get our little opinions out there and still trying to create good content for the show and all that, but everything is just moving so fast. We haven't gotten any of our skits. Have you even heard from Grandma?
Who?
Grandma.
Exactly. No, I haven't heard from her.
I haven't heard from Cousin Jesse. I haven't heard from Cecil. I haven't heard from any of them guys.
No, yeah, well, I lied. Well, I didn't lie. I didn't hear from Grandma, but Amanda did leave me a voicemail the other day, but it was one of those that was just like, oh my gosh, when will this end?
Oh, like her 15-minute voicemails that she leaves.
Yes, and I always hate, and this sounds terrible, but I hate to pick the phone up when she calls because I know it's going to be one of those conversations where it's like, no, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. And
yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I wish sometimes there was something for that.
Wow. There is, and it has been published on our Facebook and our YouTube page, if you didn't know.
Sound of that. I like the sound of that.
And I wanted to talk to you about possibly, maybe, if you have a chance, throwing that up on TikTok.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be a good one.
It would be a good one. But no, so I bring up the 20-day thing
Yeah.
Because do you remember what our first episode was about?
My childhood. Or, I'm sorry, Mexico.
Yeah, it definitely was. Oh, California. Nope. This is, you are correct, sir, about Mexico. And there's an update to it.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, so Senator John Kennedy. You heard of the man?
I've heard the name a time or two.
Yeah, old John Kennedy. He, in my opinion, is hilarious. But he, from New Orleans. Nolans. Goes in there and he'll interview people. And if you haven't seen any of his stuff, they've got him up on YouTube. We'll throw a little clip in here on this episode. But he is asking the DEA Administrator, and I can't remember her name, but he is asking her about what would be the fix for bringing, taking out the cartel and stopping the flow of fentanyl into the country.
Yeah.
Because for years, it has gotten worse, and it's gotten worse, and he comes up with a plan that, I don't know, makes sense to me. Let's roll the clip and see if it makes sense to you.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Administrator, the two cartels that are sending fentanyl into the United States are located in Mexico, aren't they?
Yes, sir.
And isn't it a fact that we could stop those cartels in their tracks if President Lopez Obrador would invite American military and or law enforcement personnel to come into Mexico and work with his military and law enforcement personnel?
Senator, what I would say from my purview as the head of the DEA...
But is my statement true or not?
What I would say is that we're focused on the two cartels, who we believe are doing exactly what you say. They are responsible for the fentanyl coming
Let me
into
ask
the
you
United
again.
States.
If President Lopez Obrador invited the American military and or American law enforcement officials to come into Mexico to work with the same in Mexico, we could stop the cartels, could we not?
Senator, I believe this is a whole of government effort and has to be, including whether it's the military, us, FBI,
Now,
and others.
Madam Administrator, I've listened to you here for almost an hour telling us how bad fentanyl is. Thank you for that, but we know.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask you a third time. If President Lopez Obrador invited the American military and or law enforcement personnel to come into Mexico and work with the same in Mexico, we could stop the cartels. Isn't that a fact?
So, Senator, I can speak to the law enforcement side of this, and you just mentioned law enforcement. I believe that this is vital for both Mexico and the United States. Mexicans are dying as well, as we showed in the Chapito.
Well, then why don't we stop them?
So
would it help? Let me ask you a fourth time. Would it help if President Lopez Obrador, I don't think it's a complicated question, Madam Administrator. You're asking us for more money every year, more money, and it gets worse, and worse. You know, in the real world, the nitty-gritty of the real world, when you fail, you get fired. In government, when you fail, you get more money because obviously you need it. Now, let me ask you a fourth time. If President Lopez Obrador, and I'd appreciate an answer, if President Lopez Obrador invited the American military and or law enforcement personnel to come into Mexico and work with his, we could stop the cartels, couldn't we?
I believe, Senator, that we can stop the cartels.
Okay, have you made that suggestion to President Biden?
If I could, I believe that we can stop the cartels by...
Have you made that suggestion to President Biden?
Senator, I have been very vocal in the whole of government setting on the importance of fentanyl, and all of us using every single effort and authority that we have.
Why hasn't President Biden done it? I mean, this is the way the American people, whose sons and daughters are dying, look at it. Our economy is $23 trillion. Mexico's economy is $1.3 trillion. Ours is 18 times bigger. We buy $400 billion every year from Mexico. Without the people of America, Mexico, figuratively speaking, would be eating cat food out of a can and living in a tent behind an outback. So why don't you and the president, embarrassing no one, get on the phone and call President Lopez Obrador and make him a deal he can't refuse to allow our military and our law enforcement officials to go into Mexico and work with his to stop the cartels? Why don't you do that?
Senator, what I am doing every single day is working with the incredible men and women of DEA who are risking their lives across 334 offices worldwide.
And I appreciate that, but you're not doing what would work. Why won't you do what will work?
Senator, why
don't you call the president this afternoon and say, Mr. President, let's call President Lopez Obrador privately and make him a deal he can't refuse. Because we both know that President Lopez Obrador has neither the ability nor the will to stop the cartels. But yet we go along and pretend that they're our friends, and Mexico is our friend. But he has criminal organizations that are killing our people. And you know how to stop it. And the president does.
Affiliate link not below. So what did you think about that?
Yeah. I think for somebody being in that role, DEA Administrator, she should be able to answer the easy questions.
The question wasn't very hard, and he had to ask it 4 times.
Yeah, I've seen a number of these where they're in front of Congress or the Senate, and they have these hearings, and they're asking them, pointed questions, and the person does not, either they don't want to, they're not able to because of their employer, whatever the case is, but they do not answer the question. And it's not like, well, if a rocket is going 632 miles per hour, at what time and speed of day and distance is the sky blue going to be when it touches Mars?
Yeah.
Let me pull out my graphing calculator and play Snake because I don't know.
Yeah. Does anyone have a compass?
You are the Drug Enforcement Agency Administrator. There is a problem with drug enforcement at the border. How do you think we should fix it? I don't know.
No, it's not. I don't know. It's, those are really good questions. And the time that I went and sat on the toilet, nobody's asking you about that. Quit bringing stuff up. That has nothing to do with the question. Answer the question. And it's these theatricals. Now, granted, and I'm pretty sure Mr. Kennedy is not immune to this, but the theatricals of Congress, of the House, of all of these things that they do, seems to be for show, right? Where it's like, okay, we're gonna have a hearing, and these people are gonna drill you, but don't worry about it if you don't get it right. It's okay. We're gonna get our money. We've already been told this. This should not be the case. I have a question.
Yeah.
You don't provide me an answer. We need to go back to the real world, and now you're fired.
Yeah, but you've got to remember, too, theatrics plays a big part of it. A lot of these folks are either current or prior litigators, lawyers, judges, whatever the case. And in law school, that is part of law school, is theater. And they have coaches in some schools where they will actually do one-on-one training with you on how to be theatrical so that when you're presenting a case or defending somebody, you can get your point across to that jury. So a lot of times these folks, again, this may be in their past, but they hold on to that and they present themselves in that way.
Right, but the American people, the majority, middle class, is tired of it. Myself
absolutely.
Included.
Absolutely. Well, it's like when we were having lunch the other day, and I noticed that you were using a fork that had, I don't know what the handle was made of, but it was white. And it's like, I could go off on a tangent on, do you really think that it's necessary in today's society and climate and critical race theory and all the stuff that you use a white fork?
Yes.
And make a big stink about it and just go off on, how you had all these other choices, but you chose this one. So what does that really say about you? On and on and on and on, and just play it up to try to get the point across that I want people to think that you are racist because you picked a white fork.
Right. Well, what if I didn't have a choice? What if a white fork was all they provided for me?
Well, then you should have got it from somewhere else.
Well,
because you always have a choice.
I never have a choice.
According to Judge Big Booty Judy, you do.
Well, she's wrong. So,
but anyway, so yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, in reality, when I ask you a question, I don't get an answer. That's just like my kids, right? Like,
yeah,
I ask my kids, why isn't your room clean? I don't want your excuses. I want to answer why your room is not clean, and now I want you to fix it because I've asked you, maybe numerous of times, to clean your room. I don't need excuses. I need you to do what I've asked. And now I've asked you a question. Now I want an answer.
But that's part of it. So they all have limited time, right? It might be 5 minutes on the clock or 2 minutes. And they are under oath. So they are being very careful what they do say so that it may or may not bite them in the butt later when it's used against them.
Right.
Now, should you have to sit there and, how do I answer this so that it doesn't bite me? Well, if you're telling the truth, that shouldn't be a problem.
No, it shouldn't.
Unfortunately, that's the way that cookie crumbles.
I don't like that cookie, and I don't like how it crumbles, and crumble cookie is too expensive. Let me go to Subway.
Yes. BEA beautiful.
You're welcome, sir. I don't have many of them, but when I do, they stick. So, how do you think that we can do this better as a society? Should we, as former President Trump said, should we drain the swamp? That is DC. That's not a loaded question.
No, I think obviously accountability, which we have a lack thereof.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But accountability is a huge key in all of this. And when people aren't held accountable and they get away and they get away and they get away and they get away with it, that's what they become accustomed to. So why would they act any different? It's not like they're going to get spanked. They didn't get spanked for it before, so who's going to stop them now?
Well, now we need to start bringing out the licking stick is what I grew up with, was called. And somebody would be like, ew, that's perverted. But no, it was a paddle with holes. And when that thing was coming, you heard it.
Yeah. I either had a hand or a belt.
Oh, okay.
Usually.
Yeah, I got paddled in school once.
Oh, you naughty, naughty boy.
Yeah, I was acting up. I probably deserved it. But my school still had the thing, and we're talking like in the 90s, dude. Like, you stuck your hands out. Yeah, and the teacher came with a ruler. Ooh.
Yikes.
Yeah, but maybe that's what we need to do. When you don't answer a question, stick your hands out. Wow. All right.
Well, I mean, we could do like some of the Middle East countries, just chop your hands off altogether.
Yeah, but that'd be for three.
You got two of them. Just take one of them, and then the second time, hopefully, you'll decide to answer the question.
Which one's your playing hand? All right, give me the other one.
Yeah.
Let you still have some pleasure.
I think, as far as solutions go, it's tough because the federal government has an obligation to protect the United States of America and our borders, right?
Yeah, and our people.
And they are failing to do that. So then you have states stepping in and securing their own borders. But then the federal government doesn't like that the states are stepping in and doing that. But they're not doing their job, so the states are having to, but the states don't necessarily have the same resources that the federal government does. So it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah,
I think if they were held accountable and they actually did their dang jobs, it would help a lot. I'm not saying it would fix the problem altogether, like the border wall, fence, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think the intent of that was ever to, we will now have zero illegal immigration. No, but it's going to be harder for them.
Yeah.
And it's going to funnel them more to those points of, or those ports of entry where they will either be turned away or not turned away if their claims are valid. Instead of just, come on in and we'll figure it out later. Here's a phone. We'll see you in 3 years when you're supposed to show up to court. And if you don't, well, you don't.
Yeah. Speaking of borders, so The Guardian a few days ago put a post out about an 8-year-old girl who was in custody, or not custody, but under the protection of the Border Patrol, had died from influenza.
Oh, yikes.
So now, and I would say, rightly so, that an investigation is going on to figure out, did the Border Patrol take the necessary actions in order to get this individual care? But there's another part of me that says, well, I mean, if you weren't at the border, this probably wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
But that's kind of rude, you know?
No, I can see both sides there. If they were coming here illegally, or their claim was denied or what have you, they shouldn't have been in custody. They should have been deported and,
sent back.
To put it crudely, somebody else's problem.
Yeah.
However, when they are in custody, it's just like the police, right? You go and you do something stupid and they pull you out of the car and put you in handcuffs. You're in their custody. They have to be careful with you because whatever happens to you, they're responsible for. Yeah. If you don't recall, long ago, I think it was Colorado, the police had stopped somebody and their cruiser was parked on the train tracks.
Oh, yeah.
And they put the lady in cuffs and they put her in the back of their cruiser and they were discussing stuff at the scene. Well, here comes a train. And if I'm not mistaken, she sued them. I'd have to go back and double check the facts. But there have been several cases where people sue the city or the police department because of the way that they were treated when they were in custody. So I definitely think if this child or any other family or person or whatever is in the custody of the CBP and something goes awry, whether it's influenza or they're getting raped or, you name it, they have an obligation to definitely investigate it and figure out who, what, when, where, why.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that it's all their fault, but, did we know that this person had this issue? Was there medical attention being provided and it just wasn't enough and the illness took them? Or it could be any number of things, but ultimately they're in their custody. Go ahead.
Yeah. Or is this the Border Patrol thinking, oh, well, these people are just trying to say something so they can get out. We take them to a hospital, they sneak out the back door, and boom, they're in America. There's a lot of what ifs or
sure
play on stuff that people try and get away with. Now, obviously, there was a physician that came in and said, oh, yeah, hey, you've got the flu. And, you need to be treated was on one day, and then say 3 or 4 days later, you then get pushed to a hospital for medical care because you're not getting any better. Your body's not able to fight it off. Then if the diagnose or there was, again, a doctor saying, yeah, you are sick and you may have this, then I don't know. There's a lot of scenarios that go into it. that just run through my head right now, and I'm trying to make sense, or trying to stay sane in the show. But there's so much that goes on at the border where just because somebody comes up and says, "Oh, my toe hurts," and "Oh, I need medical," and "I need a doctor," not every case is the Border Patrol going to be, "Oh, okay, yeah, whatever. Oh, you're hurting? Okay, well, we'll get a doctor in here as fast as we can."
Well, and again, the resources. Look at how many people are flooding the border because they know they can get away with it with our current regime. Do we have thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of doctors just on standby for that? No, we don't.
So it's not and no, we shouldn't.
No, yeah, absolutely. And again, going back to your question, I don't think we can necessarily blame the CBP, the Border Patrol, oh, hey, this person had the flu and they died in one of your facilities. You guys are to blame. Not necessarily.
No.
Now, if they knew and they didn't do a thing about it, or they weren't treating the person or whatever, okay, well, now there might be something there. But I had watched something recently. This lady was talking about how many children get raped when they're being held in those facilities.
Mm-hmm.
And was trying to blame it on Border Patrol and the U.S. and all this stuff. And you can't.
No.
Is it unfortunate? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah, 100%.
But you can't say, well, it's these guys' faults because they put all these people together in, these holding facilities.
They're not holding facilities. They're cages.
Oh, yes, they're cages. I forgot. The cages that Obama built.
Yeah. Wow, no, it's the last administration. Oh, it wasn't Obama.
Yeah, everything's the last administration.
Yeah. But, yeah, sad situation,
Very sad.
Sorry for your loss. But, again, there's a part of me that says, well, maybe if you weren't there, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So.
You're right.
Well, yeah. Anyways, that is the Mexico. Did I say it right?
Mexico
update.
All right.
Yes,
well, I appreciate that. I, like you said earlier, I know we had talked about it earlier in the season. But like we say usually, as updates happen, we will continue to provide them. So as this continues to develop, unfold, go awry, get better, whatever the case, we will be here to push that information out.
Yes, to all of you wonderful people.
Yeah. And if any of y'all have solutions as well or ideas on how to make these things better, or what you've seen work or not work, or you just totally disagree with us and say, hey, you're stupid, this is why, we would be very open to hearing about it.
Yes, please.
And engaging. And yeah, I mean, there's so many possibilities, outcomes, whatever, for these situations. And we're here and ready to talk.
100%. Well, bud, again, great having you around.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me around.
Of course.
I feel like one of those neighborhood cats. You just keep putting the food out, and I keep coming back.
Well, I kind of want you to feel like one of those wind-up monkeys that just kind of ching, 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 ching.
That's racist.
It's not. That's a toy.
But you said the ch-ing word.
Oh. Hey, I got a joke for you. As always, we'd like to say thank you for stopping by and listening to the podcast.
Yeah, we realized that you could have been doing anything way more productive, but you chose to waste your time with us.
We look forward to talking about absolutely nothing with you next time.
If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, please email us at
jtandrewshow@gmail.com or visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/jtdrewshow.